What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with some Incursion 2.2 raid video guides. In today's video, we're going to be going through and actually completing the Mystic section utilizing the Bifrost team. And again, this is the new raid that's utilizing some of the most up-to-date meta teams, but I found, even surprisingly enough, with how low built this Bifrost team is, they can still get the job done. Total team power is about 817,000 in total. Obviously, the exception here being Val having all the respective upgrades, because I did bring Val into Dark Dimension 6. But as you can see, the rest of the team, guys, very, very reasonable. Gear tier 14, and as well as just being level 75 across the board here. Just slowly scrolling through so you can see the respective upgrades. And these are the T4s that kind of work for me. And that way you guys can see. But again, this is Incursions 2.2. So if this works in this higher level difficulty, for sure, if you guys are going through the initial Incursion raids for one, this is definitely gonna get the job done. So let me show you guys now the gameplay and footage here. Now, given how low level my team is for this difficulty setting, keep in mind, guys, I definitely feel like, you know, you may not be able to sim it just because of the fact that they're all still quite low level. So I mean, I personally haven't tried yet, but you can definitely give it a shot if you guys want to test it out. But I didn't want to risk it, especially when we're starting off and learning these nodes. So first and foremost, I do start off with Sylvie's ultimate at the very beginning. To be honest, you could probably start off the special on big time as well, but you do want to focus that left cluster, just because there's some really notable targets on the left side with their abilities, right? And the one thing to watch for in this one is obviously Morgan Le Fay, Rogue, all being in that cluster there. But I did want to opt and focus that left side just because we don't want Rogue to be getting off her special, and that does slow us down quite a bit. Now, with the Bifrost team, they get going pretty good here in terms of the energy sustain and being able to utilize all their debuffs against the team, and that's kind of where they thrive, right? Morgan Le Fay is likely going to get, you know, her ultimate or special off. That's all right, because we're focusing on that left side first. And again, so as long as we're able to control, and even if some of our allies fall, once we take down the Kestrels, the Val's gonna be able to revive anyone that falls. So in this opportunity here with Sylvie, if you have a chance, I would definitely recommend stunning Morgan Le Fay. I don't recommend taking down anyone else, just because the horsemen are probably the ones doing the most work. And then at this point, you should be able to get Val's ultimate off pretty quickly here. And even though none of our allies have fallen, we're going to use the ultimate there just to do that devastating amount of damage. And it basically becomes pretty smooth here. As you can see, everyone's weakened. There's massive debuffs. The Black Bolt Kestrel does spawn. But, you know, I just love how, you know, even despite having such a low level Loki, you know, having his special to really do good work and being able to mind control, it does amazing work here. So at this point, only 3 enemies remaining. The one thing you do want to be mindful of is magic can obviously bring back, you know, Phoenix that did fall previously, right? So just something to be mindful of. You want to aim for her, but as well, be able to stun Black Bolt just to slow down that damage. We're not too worried at this point if it's just a couple of them there, and you should be able to easily wrap things up here. You know, targets like magic with the exposure there, definitely take advantage of, so that way we're spreading in and building up energy for the team. But you shouldn't have to use any of additional abilities at this point. It should be a quick auto here, just to ensure all your abilities are ready to go. And this sets the stage, right? Having all these cooldowns ready to go for the next node definitely helps any advantage you can get. Super smooth. Okay, so starting off here now in the next node, you can see we're up against a mixture here of the Death Seed, and thankfully, like I said, we have the same startup and setup. You know, always activating Sylvie's ultimate at the beginning is a good play, just because you can actually focus on, you know, removing all the buffs like taunt and so forth, and being able to actually have control again. Always a big moment when you have Val special here, so I think down the middle is the best play, just because there's so many dangerous enemies, and thankfully because of us attacking Robbie Reyes here in the beginning, he's pretty much already taken down. So you gotta be strategic here, be able to read Bill's special and ultimate, because there could be some timely targets with his special to stun. Seeing that there was a great amount of debuffs, I just opted to use his ultimate to add to the debuffs and do some work on the damage. But obviously Nemesis, Dark Beast, Archangel. They're the key targets that we want to be focused on, just because of the fact that they can actually, you know, revive, and remember, they're operating in the raid setting, so they're going to have those additional bonuses against us. We opt to stun a nemesis there with the special, and then again, I'm not really caring too much about bringing my fallen allies back, because more so using Val's ultimate for the damage output side, because you can see how much damage that's doing across the board. And that's really the difference maker here, right? Now we're doing really good with the amount of debuffs. I mean, this definitely seems like a node you can probably auto sim with the teams that we have, but again, I like to be safe, just because these are all new raids and we're still testing them out. But especially with this being a 2.2 difficulty, something I was being mindful of was just making sure that I can get the efficient attacks in. So at this point, yeah, you should only be left with a couple of enemies left remaining at this point. You know, Kate Bishop, having Miss Marvel support, Agent Venom, and Captain Carter, they should be able to take your team down once you take down the rest of the Death Seed here. And at this point, you just have to be strategic, right? Making sure our cooldowns are, you know, well maintained, but as well, you know, key characters like Kate Bishop, if you're able to take her down before, just because she can do some good work, and then you have Miss Marvel there all taunting and taking control as well. So at this point, 3 of these remaining, you shouldn't have to utilize too many abilities in my honest opinion, especially saving again, once again, that Sylvie ultimate that we can start things off. Very smooth. I think this node is definitely easier than the first node, just because we're dealing with less enemies, but as well, you know, they're all the danger targets were taken down in the initial wave, and we're left with this, you know, B team that we can easily clean up. Okay, last but not least, this is the boss node here. So starting things off, again, this is, I think, the most dangerous section of the wave, just because we're dealing with a lot of potential targets that we need to focus right away, but there's some pain points obviously with Icarus coming as well. So at the beginning here, I think a good one to target is Cloak and Nova. Nova's super tanky though, so again, we're going to be taking advantage of Val's special down the middle, just trying to ability block as many as we can, so that way we do have more control and being able to mitigate damage as well. You probably won't be able to do too much with Beta Rebuild, just because you know, you'll likely be taunted by the security to the left side. So we go ahead, we do opt to do some add to the additional debuffs with his ultimate, and at this point, we're just waiting, right? Cersei likely will be able to get her turn off to cleanse. It would be ideal if the ability block actually landed on her. I've definitely had some runs where you know, it has gone through her high resistance, but if it doesn't, that's not the end of the world, just because this team was built for these nodes. So even at this low level, you're gonna have an issue. Once again, we get this opportunity to use Val's ultimate, and we don't we make no mistake there, just to clean up the board. A big wave of enemies do drop, which is perfect for us. We're finally almost through the securities, but at this point, I think a good time to actually utilize the ultimate here, and something to be mindful of, right? You're gonna see here, you could opt to use the ultimate from Loki. Obviously, you can wait as well, just because with Icarus spawning here, those minions makes it for some easy targets. So I was definitely aware of that. It's unfortunate because, yeah, it could set up the stage here for a very devastating ultimate by Icarus. So therefore, using Sylvie to stun Icarus was the right play. Just something to be mindful of if you're doing that. If you're not too careful, you can set up the stage for a very powerful you know, burn from them, and then you can totally wipe out your team. So we're looking pretty good. We controlled the main targets that we need to focus on, obviously here. Both the Eternals now are ability blocker stunned, which leaves us in a very good position. Dagger's not really an issue in my honest opinion. You know, with the bleeds on her, she'll likely get her ultimate off, but if you have the immunities and all the buffs on our team, you likely won't have to deal with too much, even if she does get her ultimate off. So I'm just focused on taking down these key targets and the Eternals, as well as Nova, obviously being that key supportive role, right? This is where, you know, Loki's special does so much damage, because it's using the other enemies around them for the additional damage. And then finally, we do clean up. Cersei goes down, and it does actually should spawn the last final wave here. With the 8 out of 13 remaining. So at this point, just try to control. If you're able to get something on Morgan Le Fay, either an ability block or some sort of stun, that would be ideal. That's kind of what I was going for, but doesn't always land, obviously, at the end of the day, and you have to, I think it's probably because of my lower levels too, but thankfully we got some good sustain, we got some good heals here, and now we can try again, right? Nova's ability block, we're gonna try again. We're gonna use Beta Rebuilds special. Didn't work, unfortunately. It is what it is. again, the high resistances against my lower team. But you know, it's not going to be the end of the world if you can't get that done, just because we do have a lot of support buffs. And remember, this is the dagger ultimate I was referring to. Just the dodges in place and so forth makes it so that it's pretty much a non-factor. Do not need to focus on dagger, so as long as you have the full Bifrost and the buffs being activated on this team. At this point, you should be able to get Val's ultimate again for a second moment if you're able to, you know, capitalize on all the exposures that have been hitting our enemies. And that does work out really, really well for us because that cleaned up. So that's why I was saying earlier, guys, you know, I don't think the rest of the team matters as much as having a very powerful Val on your team. She definitely is going to be the difference maker here. The engine of the team, the damage, the ability blocks. The key pivotal moments was all because of Val. And again, now getting that opportunity to control the board once again. So yeah, even though we missed our targets consistently a few times with the abilities here, you know, we were still able to make no mistake, and that's because Val had the very powerful abilities that we took full advantage of, and we're in a really good position. So you can see this definitely seems like a node you could auto sim for sure, but just because of that little mechanic there with the Eternals, I definitely would recommend just playing it because you know, we have more than enough time, as you can see, and with this lower level team, we can still get the job done. So yeah, better safe than sorry, guys. But there you have it, all 3 nodes, 817K Bifrost team. Hopefully this helps you guys push forward. I'll definitely be releasing more videos on incursions as well. Thank you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.